we're taking a look at the 5 worst boss battles in the Arkham series. T, you're back. You've been off on your tour around America. You're trying to sell lots of Huggies to lots of single mothers around the country.
It's a big campaign,
We really appreciate your entrepreneurialism here on the channel. Friend of the channel, T.
That's really cool that you would have me and promote that. So yeah, go check out my Patreon.
Yeah,
my campaign will continue.
Hey, I only have one patron. I don't think you're going to do too
You don't
well
have room
plugging
for
your Patreon yet.
Okay.
You might need to wait a bit.
It would be funny if mine did well and yours didn't. So.
I do want to point out we're not associated with Huggies. Sorry, Huggies.
We would be.
Let's take a look at the 5 worst boss battles in the Arkham series. Our first one is our boy Firefly from Arkham Knight. I can't speak, apparently.
That's all right. Not a problem. Yeah, his in Arkham Knight, so not a whole lot going on with it.
It was an embarrassment.
It was. So yeah, you're basically flying around, or driving around. He's flying around, and you just chase him around the city until you catch up. And then you launch yourself out of the Batmobile, and then you grab him, beat him up for a bit, and he flies away. And you do that until you until you get to the 3rd try. I believe it's the 3rd try. Maybe it's more.
I think it is the 3rd or 4th try. Yeah. It's hard to remember the specifics of that.
Nonetheless,
and I don't even know if I have footage of all of these, because some of these I did not record because they were just so not fun.
Not memorable.
I need to go back through the game and re-record some of these. But just in case there's not footage of it, there will be footage of something else very fun in the background.
Yeah.
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 It was an embarrassment because they basically acted like in Origins, like, wow, we really set this character up and Batman took him down. And then in Night, they're kind of like, he's back for vengeance 10 years ago at the bridge.
Yep.
What you did to me. And then it's just like, dive out, punch, 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 dead.
That's it. There wasn't really any depth to it. It was just, oh, look, a guy's starting fires. Go grab the guy that's starting fires. Now he got away. Do it again. There wasn't really any like creativity behind it. It was just like, oh, obviously that's Firefly. Oh, obvious, and then you're just chasing him.
They only did
really a dynamic thing about getting him either.
There was only one good thing with it, and it was a background other side quest because for going out and saving the firefighters, there was a tie-in to the Firefly storyline.
That was cool.
Who's setting these fires and stuff. Yeah, that was
I forgot
fine,
about that. Yeah,
but
right.
like it didn't really improve the boss battle at all.
No, I would agree.
The next one we have up is one that made it onto the list of the worst things in Batman Arkham Asylum.
Oh,
the Joker boss battle.
That's right.
It's so terrible. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's not like up at the top of the list because it is functional, right? Like it's a boss battle that works. You can play it. It's not the worst designed thing I've ever seen. But in a lot of ways, it also is. It doesn't fit the character at all. And that's probably the biggest thing.
No, honestly, that was the biggest thing. Is because, like, why would he inject himself with Titan? That's just a weird thing at the end. And honestly, like, I had fun with it, especially the end. When he puts the gel on his fist and you punch him and it's kind of like a cool slow-mo. That was cool. Nonetheless, even just looking at this from, like, somewhat of through a practical lens, why would Joker turn around over and over again as you hit him with the background?
Yeah, pose for like the helicopter and like Jack Ryder and all these other media people.
He never adapts. It never changes. You do the same thing over and over again. And I'm not saying that the game is always like it's always a need to be practical and logical at all times, but that was just like the villain should adapt at some point. You know what I mean? Like there was no change there at all. So that was kind of annoying. Like you said, it was just weird for the character. It just didn't really seem like
it's
Joker,
like a decent character design. That's about the best I can give it in terms of like positives. Like it was unique.
He's got a mohawk, yeah.
But like that really just solidified that game's obsession with Titan and like just how they had to constantly overuse it and overuse any connection to it in the game.
Well, you were looking at like the boss fights in that game, and it was funny because as you were listing them off, it was Titan henchman, Bane, 2 Titan henchmen, Poison Ivy, 2 more Arkham Titan guys, Joker. Like it was just there was over and over Titan. Bane was Titan. I mean that was the whole theme of the whole game.
And that's the thing is like this was just a progression of those Titan boss battles. It was just different.
Yes.
Like it was just sort of different. And it's like those would have made it on the list if this wasn't in that game.
Right.
For sure. Because they were so forgettable and just boring.
Right.
The next one we have is a little bit of a sleeper hit in terms of boss battles.
Okay.
Now, What would you do if I told you Deadshot was in Batman Arkham City? Would you be hyped about that? Like, oh, we're moving into Arkham City, you know, Deadshot, that's a different type of character. We're actually getting some interesting characterization here, interesting picks.
Be pretty excited. Yeah, I think that's pretty dope.
And he's slowly picking people off over the course of the game. You have to solve this. You even see him in line at the beginning of Arkham City.
Go on.
Yeah, there's a lot of build up here. And then you get to him and he's just a one-hit Predator takedown.
Oh.
Yep. That's it. There's nothing else to it.
That's all there is.
That's all there is. You just hide for a minute, crawl under him, silent takedown.
It's such a waste.
It's a huge waste because do you remember in Origins there's another boss battle with him and it's way better.
It's way better. Yeah,
I mean,
it's night and day difference.
It's funny though because the quest leading up to it is not as good.
No.
Because it's only like one mission and then him.
Correct. Yeah.
But this is the other way where there's all this build up and then nothing.
Well, that's the thing is because it's cool because there's that scene too where you're saving Jack Ryder and you find his list. And he's got like a hit list. He's got times. That's really cool. And like you find like his bullet. You're talking to that one guy by the radio tower. He gets shot and it's like, oh, what was that? We got to go see. And then Deadshot gets away. You find. I mean, you're finding these hints. You get there. It was a really really cool build up to get there. And then even when you're gliding around the map, you'll hear a gunshot and it's like, oh, another gunshot. We got to go see what was that. And so there's really cool elements to it. But that payoff was just like, I mean, you avoid his laser eye, get under the vent, take him down. That's it. There's nothing else to it. It's just there's no payoff. And it was kind of like, to a lesser extent, it was like the Hush fight a little bit. You know what I mean? Where it was just like,
oh, at night.
Yes. You get there, you do one thing, you're done. That's it. And it was a huge build up. Not a great payoff. So.
Yeah, I agree completely. They really didn't do much to actually solidify that in the game or make it memorable. If anything, it's the opposite.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Next up, we're getting to the worst of the worst in our opinion. That is the Deathstroke tank battle. This is horrible. It's a horrible boss fight.
Bad.
It's so bad because you're just driving around trying to get behind sort of a modified Cobra tank and take him out. It's such a boring encounter. The first time you go up against the Cobra tanks, it's like, oh, this is unique. That's fine.
Yeah.
If it was one time. But by the end of the game, you've done it like 3 or 4 times. And it's just obnoxious. Yeah. There's no point to it. They build him up again. It's like Firefly, but worse. Like they say 10 years ago, you beat me. Blah, 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 blah.
I like that voice.
And then you get to him, and it's like, oh, all right, well, I'll just shoot your tank a couple times, and you're done.
That's it. Get in the back of my car. Well, yeah, that's the thing, too. It's like you said, it's that build-up. And, I mean, honestly, it was just boring. And getting to him, so after you beat the game, you have to go through and do all of those stations, do the own the roads. You're doing all of these kind of grindy things that are repetitive. If you only had to do, say, like 2 apiece or 3, I don't know, less, I think it would have been more enjoyable. It got grindy, for sure, after a while. So then you finally get to that boss battle, and it was a repetitive, I mean, I think you explained it best. There's just nothing really to it. You go behind him, you line up the shot, you shoot him, you drive away, and then you go do it again. There's nothing to that.
Yeah, there's an interesting idea there, sort of, in the incorporating, like, stealth gameplay into the tank.
Yeah.
But the tank was already so overused that it didn't really matter what gameplay you incorporated into it at that point. Players were sick of the tank. And I think overwhelmingly, like, most players were sick of the tank by the point of the Deathstroke boss battle, even if none of the rest of this criticism stood, which it also does. Mm-hmm. So there was really no getting past that.
Well, like we talked about with Deathstroke, I think in our most, like, I think we talked about most underused villains.
Yeah.
That should have been a hand-to-hand fight for sure. There's no reason so I think that's why it was even more annoying. There's no reason that a boss fight with Deathstroke should have been a tank battle.
Nope.
There's no reason for that.
No, it doesn't fit the character at all. It doesn't even fit Batman.
No.
It fits nobody involved.
No.
It just fits Rocksteady thinking, like, we made this tank, we put money into it, you're going to use it.
Use it. Yeah.
So our final boss fight that we have in the series for the worst is the Cloudburst Tank. This
with Arkham Knight, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was bad.
This was really bad.
It's in Arkham Knight with Arkham Knight.
It's my least favorite in the entire series, and yours too.
Yeah, it's horrible. And they do this build up with it, like, oh man, this is Scarecrow's plan. This is his big end game. This is what he's building up to. Oh man, we're confronting the Arkham Knight, and it's just a Cobra tank.
There's
really nothing to it at all.
No, and I mean at the end was kind of cool because
Pulling him out of the tank
and then
stuff?
you get up to the roof and then you like beat him up and you see Joker's face. I think if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yes, you are.
But the fight itself was so lame. And there was another one with Arkham Knight in the tunnels that isn't great, but it's a little bit better than this one. We were talking about which one we wanted to put in, and I wanted to put. I think we both wanted to put Cloudburst above it, just because the tunnel one had some minor cool things to it.
Yeah.
But
they at least work stealth into it in a unique enough way that it's interesting. With like trying to run away from him, hiding in different passageways.
For sure.
This doesn't really have that. And actually, I remember when I played this again, I just like, you can actually lead it, like you can lead any of the Cobra tank battles around the same building over and over again.
Really?
Yeah, just one. You can just pick one and do that. And just kind of keep going around and cheese them. They're just that badly designed. So
it's such a shame because I mean that's the title character. He's just. They should have put a little more thought into it, I guess. Because I mean, really, Arkham Knight in general didn't get a lot of cool boss fights throughout. I mean, he probably had I think 3 of them between the boss fights and then that one at the end where you're kind of grappling around and doing the stealth. So there wasn't really a lot of payoff with him either.
Well, that's the thing, is the only good boss encounter he really has that's good is that final one.
That's it, yeah.
And it's not even the best, it's just competent.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's the tank battles, they just didn't work.
No.
Really. No.
So hey, that's our top 5 worst, or maybe we should say bottom 5 worst boss battles in the entire series of Arkham. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Were there boss fights you disliked more than any of these? Are any of these actually your favorite? Maybe you love Cloudburst. You head over to DeviantArt every day after hanging out on YouTube on the Degenerate J channel. You draw up some DeviantArt of the Cloudburst tank and the Batmobile. You know what I'm saying? So let us know in the comments down below what you think about this, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. You're awesome.
You know what I'm saying? You